That's Cabbie Style.
Well, you know us and you love us. And you love watching our Cabbie Style updates every week. But you may have been wondering how we came to be started on this journey of living Cabbie Style. Well, back during COVID in about 2020, Allie was living in a little cabin in rural Quebec. And she loved it. She talks all the time about how that was such a great creative time for her. Finishing her second album, living in the woods. And then one day we saw that the guy who built the cabin and who Allie was renting it from, he had a cabin that he was selling and some land. And it was affordable to us. We just had to pay him $400 each per month and no interest. So we pulled the trigger. And we got the 2 acres of land, and at first it didn't even have the cabin on it, so we would just camp on the land. And then we hired our neighbor, who also lives out there, Joe. He's got a big backhoe and stuff like that, and he cleared some space on the land for us. We don't necessarily like watching this footage. We find it kind of sad to see the trees coming down, but we had to clear a little bit of space for where our cabin was going to go. And we couldn't believe it. Watching the big machinery kind of made us laugh, just how it looked like a big munching creature. And then there was the clear space and the land was flat. And another reason why it was affordable to us was because the guy who sold us the land and the cabin, part of the deal was that he was moving the cabin onto the land for us. He covered the notary charges and stuff like that. So it all just seemed very feasible to us. And there's Allie, and the cabin is there on the land. We couldn't believe it. Where it had just been forest before, then our cabin was sitting there, and it was empty inside. And we would stay there, and it was kind of camping style. We'd sit on our camping chairs.
But it was cold.
It was cold.
It was November.
Yeah. But we would still, we enjoyed it out there for sure, but we knew that we had to make some developments, including we started talking about how we needed to have a wood stove. And
That's Jerry.
Jerry's meowing up a storm right now.
He
And
probably has
then
his hedgehog.
I got a chainsaw because I knew that we needed to, if we had a wood stove, then we needed to chop up some wood and to do lots of projects and stuff. So I became obsessed with the chainsaw, and this was the first time I ever cut a piece of wood. It was so thin, and I was so scared, but I did it.
I was scared too.
We were both scared, and also Ollie and Simone got me this axe for Christmas, and I used that to make firewood, and I was just having the time of my life. And I made this little shelter. I was so proud. I'd never made something before, and that's where I put my firewood, into this little shelter. And then Allie, she took this baseboard heater off the floor because this happened while I was away playing music. This guy that we found on Facebook Marketplace named Zach and his friend, they came and they installed our wood stove. They came all the way from Ottawa, and he put the pipe up on the roof. He did a really good job, I think. And he was an affordable guy. He was just kind of a hobbyist. He just does this on the weekend, kind of as a hobby. And then finally we could make it warm in the cabin so Jerry could go there. And he loved the fire right away. And so this was like the first winter. If we hadn't put in that wood stove, then we wouldn't have been able to stay there in the winter. But then, this was something I talked about in the last episode. This was a bad thing that happened, that the stovepipe got crushed by the snow, and I had to get it fixed. And this is our first solar panel, and we also got, you can see the rain barrel for collecting water off the roof. So then we were able to charge our phones and have a light and stuff like that because we had a solar panel. And this at the time was the most charge we ever got, 181 watts. And then we got 4 solar panels. And we got a bigger battery too. So then we were able to have a mini fridge, use quite a bit more power. And you see that white pointing thing? It's like a cell booster that helps us get service so we could hotspot. And we made this little garden thing. We made these garden things. And we got some furniture from Cousin Bill and Nori. Some beautiful wood furniture that made the cabin a lot nicer. And a nice place for Jerry to sit. We got this great couch, pull-out couch. So much beautiful furniture. And then we had our first visitors on my birthday. And you see in the reflection my brother Jake, he and Connor, and Connor's wife Isa, and I spent a long time making a French onion soup. And we played games. It was cool having our first ever visitors at the cabin. I made this little bench. This was the thing that I built that first winter. I saw online to build a sawhorse out of logs so that I could chop my wood more easily. This was like one of the first things I ever built, and I did such a bad job building it that, like, within one day after building it, it just totally fell apart, and I just had to use it for firewood. But watching this footage, I should make another one of these because it makes it a lot easier to cut wood. What do you think?
Yeah. It looks good. It just wasn't solid.
Yeah, and wobbled too much.
Yeah.
I can see in this footage, so this was the first, just a couple months into me having my chainsaw. I'm very tentative with it. You can tell I'm a bit scared of using it. But there I am making the firewood. It's probably burned it since then. This year, I chopped quite a bit of firewood compared to last year. Last year, yeah, I just filled like that little structure. I went through it pretty fast, and then I had to spend a bunch of money on like eco logs from the hardware store. This year, there's probably like 4 times as much wood as there was last year, so should last pretty well. But I'll probably get some eco logs too to supplement it. But also now we have electric heat, so I mean last year when I would get to the cabin in the evenings, it would be like freezing in there, and then so it would take so much wood just to get it up to a livable temperature. But now when I come home, it's not that cold, so I don't have to burn as much wood because you're supplementing with some electricity. And here's beautiful Allie peeling a log. She did so much of this work peeling all these. We have all these logs that got cut down to make room for the cabin. Millions of logs, some would say. So she was scraping them all.
And we didn't know we had to peel them quickly.
Yeah, we could have peeled them even more. We could have made more effort to. Some of our logs got a little rotten because the bugs would get in the bark and stuff like that. But it's good that she did what she did because I
did the best I could.
She did the best she could, and that enabled us to make this cabin small. This was how it first began, and then we realized we needed to put a tarp underneath it. So
yeah, it wasn't a tarp. It was like the
special fabric.
Yeah, that's us.
There we are putting it down to have a nice substratum. And these logs, it's hard to remember now, the ones that were at the base of the cabin were so heavy. Hundreds and hundreds of pounds and
thousands
of pounds. It took me forever to move these things. It was horrible. I could barely budge them. So I would like put little stumpers underneath them and then do my inchworm technique, slowly sliding them across the ground so far. Inch by inch it was punishing, and I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore, although I'm going to build more small cabbies in the future, so I'll also do it all again, but I have more tools now. More experience in general. And yeah, so we got all these rocks from the lakeside that we used to hold down the tarp. And here's Jerry. He loves the outdoors, and he's eating a slice of pizza right now while I'm doing his voiceover.
Suzanne is.
Oh, that's Suzanne. I get them mixed up. Yeah, here he is doing his kind of acrobat routine on the cabin small. So this was, I guess, like summer 2024 or something when we started the cabin small.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is how it began, just with these 4 big logs on these cement blocks. Spent a fair amount of time trying to get it all level, trying to get off to a good start. Then we put this supporting beam in the center. Allie was just continuing to scrunch all these big logs. We had this random piece of plywood. I thought about putting this on for the floor. It's like laughable looking at it, how thin this piece of plywood is, to think we could walk on that. But I was just testing it out, and then we ended up buying this thicker plywood. I mean, looking at this, it's like we should have put way more support beams in this floor. This is so stupid that we put this plywood on like this, and this is what the floor of the cabin small is. That's not strong, but that's how it is.
Also, we could have used the plywood to frame the whole thing and make sure that it was a proper square.
Yeah, that's true too. We just didn't know what we were doing. I just put these big logs in a square and then put this plywood on to be the floor. And honestly, we walk on this floor. It is fine, but it's ramshackle for sure. we had to, because we didn't have like super long nails or screws or an auger or anything this time. I had to like make these little notch things that then we could put nails into that we could hammer into the logs below. That was our strategy at this time. And I developed my scrunching technique for making the logs more close to each other. And at this point, so this was like late in the year of 2024. That's how it was looking. Quite a beautiful cabin, small. And then this, they came back, our neighbor, to help us put in our septic so we could have a toilet that for our poo. And so this is where they dug the big area for the septic. And we only very recently actually got it checked out to make sure it complies to the regulations in our plan, and we're all good. And there's the septic field with the tubes and stuff. This is a moment of pride for me that they sat on my special bench I made. And then the septic was buried, and that's all for today. And we'll
That's
keep
Cabbie
that
Style.
going next episode.